My name is Elijah Schuller, and today I will be telling you why capitalism is the superior form of economic government. It is evident that countries and leadership look past communism and socialism and focus on capitalism. It is not only true, but it is still scary that countries and governments use socialism and communism. To give you some background, I'm a high school student who wants to live the rest of his life feeling financially and economically free, knowing how his government operates. This is a very important debate that has been seen in hundreds and hundreds of years of government, including currently. Here's a little background on each system. Communism is a system promoting public ownership and community control over means of production, striving for a classless, stateless society. Similar to that, socialism is an economic system seeking equitable distribution of wealth. In socialism, production and distribution decisions are made by society, aiming to fulfill social needs while reducing inequalities. In contradictory to both of those, capitalism encourages innovation and efficiency by rewarding private ownership, investment, and personal profit in a very competitive and growing marketplace. Now I want to get into my main points. First, I will talk about the graphic world that communism creates. Here's a quote from an author of Regent University. I have heard the claim that communism is good in theory but does not work practically. Both history and lived human experience bear witness that communism is ineffective during implementation. When you look at the main idea of communism, you may have been like me, thinking maybe it's not so bad. It's when you get into the fine print and you see the coercion and disgusting lives that communists live. Its main claim is that it will create an efficient and divergent working environment throughout the community. This idea leads to coercion of hard-working people, creating a forced labor and very unhappy environment in the home. In history, there are numerous examples of governments and economies failing because of the mental and physical states of its citizens. Next, I want to discuss the deprived countries that socialism keeps struggling. Here's a quote from Edwards. The experts examine socialism in its many guises, beginning with Charlie Cook's blunt assessment that socialism is not and can never be democratic. Now that I've talked about communism, I want to dive deeply into socialism. It has been proven in the United States that democracy is the most efficient form of government. When you look at even the surface of socialism, it instantly will turn off from American use. One of the driving reasons we steer away from socialism is because of its lack of innovation. It doesn't like risks or competitions, which isn't good for investors and entrepreneurs, which we see lots of here in America. There's also a lot of concentration of power that goes to the state itself, which is frowned upon even in our Constitution. Next, I will talk about capitalism and everything that goes with it to keep America thriving. Here's a quote from Levitsky. At the same time, even rich and powerful private sectors in high-income countries may be vulnerable to government pressure, a fact that makes these countries potentially susceptible to democratic backsliding. After looking at both socialism and capitalism, there must be a system that avoids the ideas of forgetting about the individual. This idea is capitalism. Before I get into the reasons and love for capitalism, I want to say that it has similarities to communism and socialism, but when you look in the fine print of capitalism, it takes away those bad ideas and creates a thriving government. A capitalist economy limits the control of the government. Tax is a standard, but capitalism is the only one of these that doesn't take almost full control. This form of economy also balances the idea of supply and demand. When things are needed, people are allowed to go out and make them and create companies, letting people build things and stimulate economy, which we run the best in the world. Finally, I want to debunk an opposition for you. Levitsky says this about capitalism. Capitalism today is widely seen as a threat to democracy. According to some, the free market facilitates the concentration of economic power in the hands of a few and the capture of the big state, big corporations, and the ultra-rich. This statement is simply not true. Every government has high corruption in its upper government levels. It is very important to see which economic system can limit all of this, almost all of this, and this is capitalism. This all leads back to capitalism because of the power it gives to the people. Levitsky then later says in his article, these arguments have merit but overlook the central role that capitalism plays in fostering democracy. A strong private sector, the core of market capitalism, is critical for democratic survival. Someone like Levitsky kept an open mind and later did research into capitalism and saw its core values. When looking at economic theory and policy, it is important to include every factor. Things like government control, room for expansion, and citizens' lives back at home are all important to look at. All things considered, capitalism is superior. Again, it is important to know that communism limits citizens' lives and their power. Socialism has failed and continues to fail in multiple different governments, and capitalism leads the biggest market in the world we know today as the United States of America. America's economy and market continues to grow. Our generation is one of the ones that can make it bigger than it has ever been, and capitalism is the economic system that we need to use. Vote for capitalistic governors and senators to continue these policies throughout your area of life. We all want families. Your children's future ultimately depends on how the world around them will be operating at the time they are living their lives. They can live their best and safest lives in a capitalistic world. Quickly, I want to show you some of the sources I've used. Each of these 4 sources were mentioned throughout the speech. I've given you all the evidence and facts I could today to make you choose a capitalistic government for your future. Thank you for listening.